What's going on everyone and welcome to the channel. My name's Jack, I'm a chef by trade and my whole purpose for this channel is to give you 100% confidence in the kitchen as well as teach you absolutely everything I know. In this one we're going to be making an Italian pasta dish which is a bucatini and matriciana, and a bucatini is a type of pasta that's very similar to spaghetti, instead it has a nice hollow hole through the centre of it which makes it perfect to soak up sauce, and a matriciana is a sauce made out of usually guanciale, which is pig cheek, but in this case we're going to be using pancetta. It's a nice, rich, salty and sweet sauce that just tastes absolutely fantastic. Please sit back, relax and enjoy. Alright guys, let's start this off with 150 grams or 5.2 pounds of pancetta that's roughly 1 centimeter in thickness. Traditionally for this recipe, guanciale is used, which is pork jowl or pig cheek, but because I couldn't get hold of any, pancetta is a great substitute. If you can't get hold of any pancetta, then bacon is absolutely fine. With whichever you choose to use, we're just going to slice it into 1 centimeter strips, which also can be diced if you prefer, but I think that the strips look better in the final product as well as giving you a nice amount of texture. Once that's done, in a medium-sized mixing bowl, add in 400 grams or 1 can of peeled tomatoes in their juices, and using your hands, a fork or a masher, smash the tomatoes up into little pieces. This will give our sauce a nice rustic finish as well as the little bursts of flavour from those smashed pieces. Now to cook our pasta, place a large saucepan filled 3/4 full of cold water onto your stovetop over a high heat. Add in 1 tablespoon or 13 grams of sea salt flakes and bring this to a boil. Whilst that's coming to a boil, place a large heavy base skillet onto your stovetop over a low to medium heat, and whilst the pan's still cold, pour in 1 tablespoon or 15 milliliters of olive oil and add in the pancetta. With this now, we want to mix it around pretty regularly for 2 to 3 minutes, just until it's nice and golden, and with us cooking it over a low heat, it will render or draw the fat out of the pancetta, which will give our sauce incredible flavour. Once that's achieved, we're then going to pour in 30 milliliters of white wine or vegetable or chicken stock for those who can't consume alcohol, and continue mixing this around for 1 minute to reduce the wine or stock and deglaze the pan, pulling up any of those delicious flavours that may be stuck. 1 minute later, pour in the crushed whole tomatoes along with all of their juices, making sure not to waste anything. Then give this a really good mix for those flavours to become friends and bring this to a simmer. Once simmering, we then want to check it for seasoning, and I'm personally going to add in 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of sea salt flakes, as well as 1 teaspoon or 10 cracks of black pepper. You can also at this point add in 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of sugar, which will cut back the acidity if your tomatoes are very acidic. We can then mix the seasoning through, reduce the heat to low, and allow this to simmer away for 10 to 12 minutes, stirring it every now and again to allow the sauce to reduce and thicken, as well as allowing the pancetta to release all of its amazing flavour into the sauce. Now that the water is at a boil, add in 300 grams or 10.5 ounces of bucatini pasta or spaghetti if you can't get hold of any bucatini. Allow it to sit half out of the water for 20 seconds, which will then make it easier to twist and turn into the saucepan without breaking it, and then cook this for 2 minutes, less than what it says on your packet instructions. In my case, this says 10 minutes, so I'm going to cook it for 8 minutes, and then we're going to finalise the cooking in the sauce. Then back to the sauce. This has been simmering away for 5 minutes and the pancetta is becoming nice and soft and the sauce is reducing and thickening really well. At this stage we can check it for seasoning again, and personally I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon or 10 cracks of black pepper, but no salt this time because the pancetta is already quite salty and the flavours have already developed into the sauce. Anyway, continue mixing the sauce frequently for the remaining 5 to 7 minutes or until it's nice and thick and well reduced and that pancetta is nice and soft. So this has now been 10 minutes and the sauce has reduced really well, and that pasta has been cooked 2 minutes before the time stated on our packet instructions. We can then add the pasta straight from the water into our sauce, bringing along some of that starchy water which will help the sauce stick to the pasta. Now what we want to do is mix the pasta through the sauce, making sure that it gets completely coated, and cook this for 1 minute, mixing it around the whole time to finish off cooking the pasta, making it perfectly al dente. We can then turn this off the heat, remove it from the stovetop, and twist the pasta into our serving bowls. If you want to be fancy, you can twist the pasta around a carving fork or your tongs, which will make it stand up nice and tall, but twisting it in like this is nearly as effective, and also make sure to get even amounts of pancetta through the pasta. Now to top this off, here is a block of Pecorino Romano cheese, to which I'm going to microplane or grate over for a delicious nutty and salty flavour. Obviously not the whole amount because that would just be crazy, but just enough to suit your personal preference. We can then proceed by garnishing this with some torn basil leaves for a nice freshness, a nice drizzle of extra virgin olive oil for a slightly fruity and peppery taste, and last but not least, a few cracks of black pepper that then leads to the best part about all of this, which is that we can then dig in. You really have to try this one. That final touch of pecorino cheese just complements that sweet and salty pancetta sauce so well. From reducing those tomatoes down, we get an incredible richness and depth of flavor, and from adding that basil at the end, you just get the most amazing freshness. This recipe here serves 2 and can easily be doubled, tripled and so on. And to store this, we can place this in the fridge in an airtight container where it will last up to 3 days, or we can place it in the freezer in an airtight container as well where it will last up to 3 months. To reheat this, we can place it in a skillet over a medium heat and heat it up till it's nice and hot, or you can just simply chuck it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. Just do whatever's easier for you. But either way you do it, just make sure you add a little splash of water or stock just to get things moving around again. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I was able to teach you something. If you did, be sure to smash that like button and consider subscribing to see hundreds of more fantastic recipes. Thanks for watching everyone, stay safe and enjoy.